All right, Shalom. Further to start by saying all praise to Yahweh Bashim Shai, Bashim Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. As you can see, this is fast food, fat profits, obesity in America, fault lines. And this was did 9 years ago, but this information is still relevant because Jake and I still don't know what's really going on. But all right, Desire, I'm gonna put up the up-to-date information also behind this. I'm going to play this clip.
So right after you eat these meals, you have energy. But the energy lasts a very short period of time. And you're hungry much sooner. And then you have to eat again. And then you have to eat again. And then you have to eat again.
It is a lot cheaper to go eat fast food. I mean, it definitely, you can buy a hamburger for cheaper than you can buy an apple.
That's very sad because you're telling me I have to pay more in order to eat healthy, but I can pay less in order to get that and to make you rich or for something that I might die off of.
It's unbelievable.
Right, Esau set this whole system up the way it is on purpose, to where you have to work and you live from check to check, and you be asking for more hours, and you don't never have time to sit down and study this stuff. And the fast food restaurants were made so you can just eat on the go, and everything is a whole lot more convenient, and when it's actually killing everybody.
Poorest people in our country are the fattest people. We've done something completely wrong here.
And that's because Jacob can afford the bad foods. They can't afford the good foods. Yeah.
Sunday afternoon in a New Orleans suburb, the Bucktown Seafood Festival is getting underway. Bucktown is a tiny fishing village that has been here for more than 150 years. It was almost completely destroyed by Hurricane Katrina in 2005, but it hasn't lost its touch for what it does best.
Food is a big part of the culture in New Orleans, and they tend to use a lot of deep-fried foods and heavy sauces. They'll tell you that while people in other places may eat to live, here, they actually live to eat.
With New Orleans, most of our food begins with what we call a roux. And a roux is a combination of flour and oil. And that's the basis for most of our sauces. And as a result, there's a lot of fat that's in the basic foods that we make, from the soups, the gumbos, to your etouffees.
How important is food to the culture down here?
It's what we live off of. Without you take the food away, and this city would die. It would. It's all about food and drink around here. There's a certain way we do seafood. There's a certain way we fry. I mean, like these guys behind us, the way they fry, the way we take whole onions, and we fry all kinds of stuff and make it taste good with the extra spice and throw it the extra kick.
That can't be good for you.
Nah, it can't be, but it sure tastes good.
Have you ever seen anyone eat one of those?
When I was younger, I used to be able to eat one. I couldn't touch a half of one now. It's a big sandwich.
The high-fat, deep-fried food culture here is delicious, but has deadly consequences.
Look at our diabetes and high blood pressure and heart disease. Like, these are major killers. And
Wendy O'Neill was born in New Orleans. After Katrina, she says, it's even more difficult to access good food.
it's definitely harder and harder to make food choices. I mean, just with having less time. I do a lot of fast food, and I actually hate fast food. I don't like the way it tastes, but I'll eat it because it's cheap and I can get it on the run.
Typical day for me, let's see, McDonald's for breakfast, McDonald's for lunch, McDonald's for dinner. We ate McDonald's all the time. We ate the trashiest stuff.
For Sydney Impostado, Weight has always been an issue. He's down now to 170 kilos from nearly 200. It's been a difficult challenge for his family to endure.
Somehow we see an internal medicine doctor who has a plan that we can go to, and but the prescriptions that he really needs we can't afford, and the specialists we can't afford to see, the kidney specialist, and so it's not a good situation.
I don't want to be the fat guy that was just another typical fat guy who died and, well, we loved him. I wish he would have lost weight. He would have been skinny and he would have lived. I don't want to be that guy.
Don has reached the point with Sydney because he believes an operation that would constrict his stomach with a band may be his best hope. But no insurance company will give him coverage because his obesity is considered a pre-existing condition.
It is a radical approach, but if he can't get it soon, his body will not be strong enough to even have that done.
Don and Sydney aren't alone.
Esau
Consider
really
the
care about
facts.
their own people.
2 out of every 3 Americans are overweight. And that number is expected to rise to 3 out of 4 by 2020. The United States is the world's fattest developed nation, with an obesity rate double of that in many European countries. 1 in 3 Americans is expected to have diabetes by 2050. Minorities have been even more profoundly affected. Blacks have a 50% higher prevalence of obesity, and Hispanics 25% higher when compared with whites. So how did it get this way?
Obesity rates have been going up very rapidly in the United States, but really only since about 1980. Before that, they were constant for decades. A change in the way our federal agriculture policy worked, which went from paying farmers not to grow food to paying farmers to grow as much food as they possibly could. And the result of that was an enormous increase in the amount of food available in the country for consumption.
Portion sizes went up as well. Fast food servings are 2 to 5 times what they used to be. This is the signature Burger King store in Times Square, New York. This particular meal has somewhere around 3,600 calories. Look at this. It would take around 18 hours of exercise to burn off this many calories.
I mean, I still remember there was a Coke machine in the teacher's lounge of my elementary school, and it had these itty-bitty little bottles. I think they probably were 8-ounce bottles of Coke. And now, I mean, it's the average portion that you see if you went into like a convenience store would probably be a 20-ounce bottle that's sold as a single serving.
American food policy doesn't happen in isolation. There are many moving parts that make up a complex puzzle. Large government agencies, multinational corporations, and of course lobbyists who try to shape the country's food policies that comes out of Washington.
For government to try to force changes, to dictate to consumers in a free society what they do is there's not a good record of that being successful.
All of this goes back to Congress. And if you want to do something about public health in America, what you really need to do is to change election campaign laws so that these big corporations aren't paying for congressional elections. That's the source of corruption in American government.
All right. And all this is being done through the elites. The elites is passing the orders down. That's why they got all these secret societies and stuff, But it's all of Yahweh Shema Shah, the Lord set this devil up and got this devil doing what he's doing. All right, Shalaki, this is Job chapter 9, verse 24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof, if not, where and who is he? Right, and we know that this white man, Esau, is the wicked man. He's the one that's promoting all these policies and passing this stuff down via, legislations and everything that got everybody sick all the time, and creating all this food and stuff of that nature, man. But that's why everybody going through what they going through and crying about it, man. But they can't do nothing about it. They don't even know. Well, a lot of people waking up now. But at one point in time, people didn't know and didn't know where to start. This Proverbs chapter 29, verse 2, it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. Right, and all these people are mourning because they keep having all these health problems, you know. And, the people that's working out and everything, you know, they going through stuff too because, one, you either have to work out harder than, you know, what you used to because of the food that you eat because ain't none of it healthy for you. Two, there's always some type of some type of injury. You get some type of injury because there ain't no nutrients in the food to begin with, you know. So it's it's all bad in this kingdom. And I'm end it with this. Give you an example of why it's good to eat healthy. Slovakia. Or an experiment that was done by Daniel. This is Daniel chapter 1. I'm going to start at verse 1. It says, in the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it. And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored and skillful in all wisdom and cunning and knowledge and understanding, science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans. It says, and the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were of the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names. For he gave unto Daniel the name of Belshazzar, and to Hananiah of Shadrach, and of Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego. But Daniel proposed in his heart, which is Hebrew word lab, in his mind, that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the princes of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Now the Most High had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my lord the king, who hath appointed your meat and your drink. For why should he see your faces worse liking than the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me endanger my head to the king. It's like it says, then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servant, I beseech thee, 10 days, and let them give us pulse to eat, which is vegetables and stuff, and water to drink. Then let our countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat, and as thou seest, deal with thy servants. So he consented to them in this matter, and proved them 10 days. And at the end of the 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat. Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them pulse. As for these 4 children, the Most High gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams. Right. So you got to believe in this too, and this is a prime example of what eating the king's meat, which is the food that we eat now today, the processed foods and the meats and all that. Or Jake and them eat. A lot of brothers don't really eat that stuff no more. But what we used to eat, or used to, versus the vegetables and everything. And the vegetables have you looking a whole lot healthier and cleaner and feeling a whole lot stronger. From my experience, eating healthy made me feel a whole lot stronger. Like my skin felt like it was impenetrable, and I had this hidden strength. And that was just from eating. I think I was eating fruits and vegetables that only for a while. And I'm trying to get back to that. So I can stop getting sick and stuff. But ultimately, all this stuff happens through Yahweh Shema Shai, and that's the best way to go, especially for what's going on now, especially so you don't have to go to the hospital with this whole COVID situation going on, and that they lying about it and trying to keep you in the hospital and all this extra stuff, man. You don't want this devil to put his hands on you in them hospitals, because them hospitals are another way that they're killing Jake, lying to him about their health, to kill him and stuff like that. So, yeah, with that being said, call Allah, Yahweh Shema Shai, double honors to the elders and apostles that were well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. Shalom.